Hi there, my name is Grace, and in this video, I'm going to share with you my story of heart anxiety, how I fell into the cycle. And if you have heart anxiety right now, if this is something that you're going through, I'm pretty certain that you will gain something from my story because right now I'm completely out of it. And 2 years ago, this happened with me where I have been pretty healthy all my life, and I've also been exercising, a bit of a fitness enthusiast. So I was exercising always, eating pretty healthy. I don't have a very strong family history of any heart ailments, so this was not something I was ever concerned about. 2 years ago, I started having palpitations. And when it first happened, I ignored it. I thought maybe it's just something, and then it happened again. One day in the morning, I woke up and I started having pretty intense palpitations. And at that time, I didn't bother much. I just sat down, had some water, did some deep breathing, and waited for it to go. The same day in the afternoon, I had palpitations again. Again, I thought maybe, I'm just tired, haven't slept. So I rested and I waited for it to go, and it didn't, and it started getting pretty intense. So I lied down, no change. I then started walking around gently, doing some gentle movement. I thought maybe it will go, no change. Drank water, did some humming, deep exhalations. It was just getting more and more intense. Somewhere while I was trying these things to make the palpitations go away, I think my anxiety kicked in and I started getting a little concerned that I hope this is not something serious. Um, At that point, I also took a tablet for the palpitations because the palpitations had got pretty intense. And I called a friend of mine who is an MD physician and I asked her that, it's been around 30 minutes that this is going on and it's pretty intense and it's making me uncomfortable. So she said that, why don't you call for this tablet and take it? And I took it and the palpitations continued. I think by then, 30 to 45 minutes in, my anxiety had kicked in its full glory. And I thought I'm also having some tingling on my left side. I'm also having breathlessness. I'm also having some dizziness. These are the things that I thought I'm having. And till then, I wasn't afraid, okay? But I again spoke to this friend, and we both decided that it would probably be a good idea for me to go and get an ECG done. So then I decide to go an ECG done, to go and get an ECG done, and I decide to go to a cardiologist clinic that is there close by. Now I go there, and he wasn't there. The cardiologist himself wasn't there, but the assistant doctor was there. And I remember me and my husband went there, and I was relaxed all that while. In fact, even when we reached the place where the clinic is, I remember telling my husband that let's. We were waiting for the lift, and I said, let's just run up the stairs. My stress test will also get done, and we were just laughing about things and relaxed. But I thought, let me just get this done because it's just to see what's going on. And we go there, and I get my ECG done. And the lady who is doing the ECG, she asks me, do you have any other symptoms? And while she's doing the ECG and the strip comes out, her expression changes. And I realize this is not looking good. And then I ask her that, is everything okay? She says, yeah, yeah, it's all okay. Are you having any other symptoms? Are you having any pain? I said, no, I'm not having anything else. I'm just having a little bit of breathlessness, but that's maybe because I'm anxious now, or maybe because, the palpitations have been going on for so long. And she said, yeah, let me just, she just leaves the room for 2 minutes. I think she goes to make a call to the doctor. And me, also, I'm from the medical background. So my ECG is right there, and I have a look at it, and I see some changes in my ECG. Uh, Now I know enough to know what is the basics, what are the normal changes, abnormal changes, but I'm not a cardiologist, so I was not able to correlate and know whether these are things I need to be concerned about. So I see them that this lady is back, and she says that the doctor says that if you're having any symptoms, you need to go to a hospital right now. And I said, okay, but I don't have any other symptoms. And she says that maybe you should speak to the doctor. He wants to talk to you. And I talk to him, and he says that, are you having any symptoms? Are you having any breathlessness, this, that, or the other? And I said, no, I don't have anything. It's just the palpitations, which I've also seemed to have subsided right now. But what do you think I should do? And he says that if you have any symptoms at all, please do not wait for me, because I am going to take time to reach the clinic. You need to head to a hospital or go and meet another cardiologist who will see you right away. Don't waste time. Now, if you have a cardiologist telling you this, it's obviously, it just came out of the blue. And I said, okay, I'll decide. And even then, I wasn't convinced that something is wrong with me, but I had the ECG in front of me. And what I then decided to do, I sent the ECG to this friend of mine, the one whom I spoke to, and we decided to get it done. And she looks at it and she says, this is strange. There are some changes. Are you having any symptoms? I said, no. Has this ever happened before? I said, no. And she says that I think you should meet the cardiologist. If this cardiologist is not available, go and meet another one. Go to the hospital probably. And now this doctor friend of mine is not in this city. She's in another city. So this it was only this much that she could help me with. So I go. I decide to go and get an ECG done from another place. Okay. Now I was all this while I was entirely calling the shots and deciding what I wanted to do. My husband, of course, again got very nervous, and my the reason I'm sharing this with you, if you have heart anxiety, is that I want you to understand what happened, how I responded, because it was my response to the situation that caused the anxiety, and the anxiety is not yet started. Okay, so at that point, I decided to get an ECG done from a smaller hospital which was just next to this clinic. And I go and get an ECG done there, and the ECG was exactly the same. It had the exact same changes, and my heart rate was still high. It still showed, because I was still having the palpitations apparently, and the heart rate was the same in the ECG, and it showed the same changes. So I was now a little confused. However, what I decided to do at that point is I thought that, okay, this is it. Probably I need to get things in order. Maybe there is something wrong with my heart, and I will probably need to get admitted to the hospital. I will probably need to fix whatever is wrong. We haven't yet found out, but probably something is wrong and I will need to fix it. So it was just me, my husband, and my kids who were at home. So I called up a neighbor, I called up some friends, and two friends, and I just shared with them that this is what's happening. Maybe I will not be coming home tonight and may be required to stay in the hospital either tonight or for the next 2 3 days. I don't know, but I am just keeping you in the loop so that if I need help, then would you be able to pitch in? So this is the things that I had started doing, and then I shared the ECG with a friend of mine who is a cardiac surgeon, also not in the same city where I live. He calls me back and says, go to the hospital right now. And I said, okay. I don't know why. I decided not to go to the hospital at that point because I was walking around and I was feeling fine. So I told my husband that I just want to speak to this cardiologist one time, and if he is on the way, then we will wait for him. We will not go to the hospital right now. So I go back and call that cardiologist where I had got the ECG done in the first place. And he says that yes, I'm going to be there in 30 minutes. So in this time, it's been almost 2 hours, 2 hours. Okay, while I got the first ECG done, went to the other place, reached out to friends, tried to get another opinion from somewhere. In my head, tried to make sense of what is happening. All this while, I was fine. I wasn't really having any breathlessness, any pain as such. It was just the heart rate which was high. So I said, okay, let me just go back to that first clinic and sit there and wait for this doctor to come. And he comes in 30 minutes and he sees me first. He meets me and he does a thorough evaluation, asks me everything, checks my blood pressure, everything, everything, everything. And he tells me that, are you stressed? Are you having anxiety? I said, not that I know of, but I mean, if I am, then I don't know. It's not that, there's something actively going on right now that is keeping me stressed or making me anxious. And he says, this looks like everything's okay. These changes are seen. And then that's when he goes on to explain to me what was the problem with my ECG in the first place. And he says, these changes are seen in a case where you have very high heart rate, but you need to correlate it with other symptoms. and with other changes. In your case, these are harmless changes which are seen in a person with very high heart rate, and this could mostly be due to anxiety. However, we need to get a 2D echo done to rule out a couple of other things. So I say, yeah, please do it. Please do whatever is needed. So we get a 2D echo done, and the result is that it's absolutely fine. I go back and we sit, and he says, you need to focus on your sleep, make your sleep better. You need to eat well, you need to hydrate, whatever. Change your lifestyle, take care of your lifestyle, do some yoga, do some pranayam. To which I then go on to tell him that I'm a yoga trainer. And he says, yeah, all that is fine, but you need to take care of yourself and make sure that you reduce your anxiety, because this is anxiety that's causing your palpitations, according to him. And he gives me a clean sheet. My husband was relieved. I was also relieved, is what I thought. And I leave the clinic, and that's when the entire story begins. The heart anxiety story began for me from the moment I stepped out of that clinic. And I think this is where most of you will correlate with if you are currently having heart anxiety. Because in those 2 hours where I was waiting for the doctor to tell me that everything is okay, I went on to imagine all kinds of things about my near future. I went on to plan all kinds of things that I would have to had I be needed to undergo some procedure for my heart. I went on to imagine a future where I would be living as somebody who's had an issue with her heart at a very young age. I went on to imagine what kind of a parent I would be as someone who has had a cardiac issue very early in her life. I went on to question what happened. I thought I was doing things right. This is absurd. What could have caused it? What do I make out of this? All kinds of things. And then I started realizing that I was having some chest pain. The thing is that I was having this chest pain a few weeks rather, before this palpitations episode happened, but I never bothered about it. I was having some slight breathlessness as well, but I never bothered about it. I was having some fatigue too, but I thought it's just me being busy, not sleeping enough, all of those things. But now, after that episode of those 2 hours where things were in the limbo and I wasn't sure, and I somewhere had accepted that yes, indeed, something's wrong with my heart, I suddenly became very afraid. I was not convinced that the doctor had checked me thoroughly because I was having continuous chest pain. I was having palpitations that kept coming back for the next several weeks. I was having panic attacks after that. I was having breathlessness. I was afraid to climb stairs. I was afraid. I just lost all confidence in my heart. And I had not prepared to make this video, but I'm glad that I'm making it because, first of all, now I'm out of it. So, people who are in the thick of it, I want you to know that you can get out of it. And when it happens, we all, no matter who we are, we all more or less have the same fears, the same symptoms, the same experiences. And this is just me sharing everything with you, okay? Because I was at that point embarrassed about what I'm feeling. But I was afraid that something is wrong with my heart. I was afraid to climb stairs. I was afraid to do cardio. I was afraid to walk a little fast. I was afraid. I was checking my blood pressure a couple of times a day. I was checking my heart rate with the oximeter a couple of times a day. I was always wanting that tablet with me because I did not want my heart rate to go high. I was also having moments during the day where my heart rate was going very low, and then I was concerned that why is it going so low? Um, I was afraid to go out to places where I felt that if something goes wrong, I will not be able to reach a hospital or reach a doctor on time. I was super fixated about what I'm eating. I was super fixated about my routines and about drinking water and about everything. And I was scanning my body for symptoms too much. Uh, I think, yeah, I have covered up all the symptoms. And basically, I was in the thick of full blown heart anxiety. And if this is you, then it's the same for all of us. um After that, there was things started improving. This went on for 2 to 3 months, and then I realized that this is not how I can live forever, and I have to change things. And then I did things to change it and to get out of it. What I did, how I came out of the heart anxiety, that I'm going to share with you in part 2 of this video. So I will see you there.